A legacy of reflections. Our life on Earth is represented by a hiking trail in a Pacific Northwest wilderness or mountain setting. Many days of our lives are spent walking. Sometimes we walk alone. Sometimes we walk with others, family, friends, teachers, coworkers, doctors, advisors, helpers, and caregivers. Our walk of life may include adventure, challenges, building relationships, love, growth, leadership, and sadness. For this collection of reflection stories, legacy refers to residents that called Chateau at Bothell Landing home and have died or moved away from the community prior to December 31st, 2024.
Welcome to the Answers for Elders radio show.
Welcome, everyone, to Answers for Elders radio network, heard across the USA and on your favorite podcast platform and here on YouTube. We are honored today to talk about stories of the past, the richest of stories with our older adults, and thinking about the history that they bring and legacy to our lives. We are here with someone who has an amazing legacy here with Chateau Retirement, Chris Serold, who used to be, welcome to the show, Chris. You used to be the Vice President of Marketing here at Chateau, and you have a brand new role that I'm very excited to talk about here at the community. But welcome, first of all. Thank you so much for reading that story in the beginning of this book that you put together, A Legacy of Reflections. What I'm looking forward to hearing all about it.
Great. Well, Legacy of Reflections is a compilation of stories of residents that lived at Chateau at Bothell Landing. Mm-hmm. About 2016, I had worked at Chateau since 2000. 2016, the owner of the company, Jim Godfrey, wanted me to write resident stories so that the staff could read their stories and have a better understanding of the people they serve. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I didn't have to even wait 1 minute to accept that job.
I can imagine. And with your history, going back with Chateau Retirement, I want to get into the book and I want to talk about that. But I want to talk a little bit about you first.
Okay.
You have an amazing history with Chateau Retirement because you started here in the year 2000.
Yes.
Okay, tell me about your history.
So my major in college was English education. And upon graduation, a month afterwards, I went to the island of New Guinea and taught English as a foreign language to natives.
Wow.
I was there 2 years, left, and came back to San Antonio, where I grew up. And I taught in a middle school. And at the end of that year, I had to look in the mirror and say, you don't like this work. You need to find what you love. Mm-hmm. And so at that time, what we were doing was, if you wanted to look for a job, you went to the classified ads. Mm-hmm. And I wasn't quite sure what I wanted to do. And so I thought, it doesn't make any difference. You apply for something, even if it's something you don't think you're qualified for. But one of the ads was for a leasing counselor in a retirement community. And this was in San Antonio. And I called up, made an appointment, had an interview with the manager at the building. And after the interview, she took me on a tour. And I thought, well, I think this is really great. I'm very interested in community. I think community is so important for all of us. And so it what we were used to is that people would, when they got older, they would go live with their family. And this was a whole new way of looking.
I remember.
So I applied for the job. She hired me. A week later, I went into her office and I said, "Why did you hire me?" And she said, "I hired you because you're an educator." And she said, "Think about it. How many retirement communities did you pass on your way to work today?" I said, "None." She said, "Exactly." She said, "We need somebody who is going to educate the public about what we do in here." And so I went back to my office and I thought, okay, let's do it. So we purchased age and income qualified databases. And from those databases, we invited people to come to seminars.
Nice.
And at the seminar, we talked about what retirement housing looks like here, and then we took them on a tour.
Sorry.
And it was a really interesting, it was confirmed, I guess, the idea of the seminars and bringing people into the building, because once they saw it, there was just something so really great about the concept. And so eventually that community was sold, and the new company kept me on. And then the man that was the COO at the time said to me one day, "You know, I think you could be a manager. Would you ever be interested in it?" And I said, "Well, I think I'd be interested, but I don't know anything about being a manager." And he said, "That's okay." He said, if you choose this, I will come in 3 mornings a week and I will teach you the job." Wow. Which he did.
Lovely.
Until I was comfortable with doing the job by myself. And it just so happened that that man then took a position in Portland, Oregon, where he was associated with a company that managed other companies. So one day I got a call. And Lee said, "Would you ever be interested in moving?" And I thought, "You've got to be kidding me." And so he said, "I've got 2 marketing positions, one in Seattle and one in Portland. You can have whichever one you want." So I said, "Well, I have a kid in college. I probably need to wait. Which one can you wait the longest to fill?" And so he said Seattle. So I said, "Okay, I'll take it." And
Now, where were you living before?
in Colorado.
Oh, in Colorado.
Littleton, Colorado.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, yeah. And so I sold the house, moved, and I managed a building up on Capitol Hill, Fredlin Manor. And then I got gradually, through another gentleman, I got introduced to Chateau and came to work here in the year 2000.
Amazing. An amazing story. And they were brand new at the time, but in 2000.
Yes, they were. And then I came as the VP of Marketing. In the year 2010, I retired. About 8 months later, my phone rang, and it was the executive director at the building at the time. And he said, "I'm calling because we need an activity director." And I said, "Yes." And he said, "Your name came up." And I said, "You want a 69-year-old activity director?" And he said, "I'm just telling you, your name keeps coming up." So I finally said, "Okay, I'll call her." So I said, "Give me a week." A week later, I called him and said, "Okay, I'm coming to work."
Oh, bless you.
So I did the activity director job until 2016, and then I retired again. And then Jim said,
Mr. Godfrey.
Mr. Godfrey, who's the owner of the company, I want the residents to write their stories
I love this.
so that the staff can read their stories and have a better understanding of the people they serve. And I said, I don't even have to think 5 minutes about whether I want that job. So I came back and did resident stories. And it was maybe a year. And pretty soon the residents started saying to me, what are you doing with our stories? And so I told them that we would put them in books for the staff lounges. And they said, well, can we read the stories? And I said, sure. I will make up books that we will put in the libraries and the lobby areas so that you can sit and read the stories also.
Absolutely. Wow. Wow. What an amazing scenario. And here you're sharing your story, which to me is fascinating. And how you came into this work. I mean, I think everyone has a story at how we end up getting here and work and serving our seniors. I know I have a story regarding caring for my mom. You know, the people around that we've been talking to at Chateau, I think that's something that's really in common with most of your staff is they have background stories of how they came here. So there's this emotional connection to serve.
Yes.
And, you know, even the vision of Mr. Godfrey to want to do this resident stories tells me so much about the heart and the caring of this organization. Yes. It does. So what did you find when you started interviewing people? What most surprised you?
Well, I think throughout my life, several things, maybe two things come to the fore that have been very important to me. And one of those is I have to have purpose. I have to have a reason to get up in the morning.
Right.
And purpose and meaning are very important to me. And learning.
Okay.
I mean, learning, and I think that's why I went from that I wanted to learn the management position. I wanted to be the activity director. I wanted to do, I learned a broad base of this industry.
Sure.
Invariably, if I ask a resident or I talk to a resident about doing their story, they say to me, I really don't have a story.
Yeah.
And so I have to remind them that everybody has a story. And so maybe we should just, with somebody like that, sit and talk about their lives. And when they talk about their lives, they begin to see what their life was like.
Sure.
And if the staff is reading them, the staff, this is a new education for the staff.
Absolutely.
They have no idea what it is to live without running water.
Yeah.
They have no idea what it is to go to a one-room schoolhouse.
No.
And so when they start to read these stories, then it sparks a conversation.
Yeah.
Not only with that resident,
Right.
but it sparks a conversation with the staff when they are in the staff lounges.
And every resident has, because they have a story, they go into the culture of Chateau. And I'm going to take you back to when you started in the year 2000. How do you see it evolving in the big picture as far as, you know, how our seniors are being taken care of? What have you noticed through the years?
Well, I think residents discovered that they don't have to give up community.
Right.
They don't have to go live with their children. No. They can continue. Community will go on and on for the rest of their life. And the community in these buildings isn't only with the residents.
True.
It is with the staff.
Yes.
And the staff loves it, and the residents love it.
Mm-hmm.
And you can go have lunch in the dining room or dinner in the dining room,
Mm-hmm.
and they tease each other a little bit. or they may
Mm-hmm.
talk about the fact that they're leaving their job at Chateau because they are going to now go to college.
Mm-hmm.
They are going to go and learn to be a firefighter.
Yeah.
It is, and so then the staff gets really, the residents get really involved with that.
Absolutely.
And so the residents will write a little note and wish them luck. You see the staff who, when the residents come in, now maybe they're having trouble walking. Maybe they need to have their wheelchair taken away from the table, but put somewhere where they can have access to it, or their walker. And who brings the walker to the table, or the wheelchair to the table? The staff. So this connection between them is not something that we saw early on.
Right.
The first retirement community that I worked at here, there was assigned seating. We don't have assigned seating anywhere. No. I don't know of a community that has assigned seating anymore.
Mm-hmm. And a lot of them, communities out there now, they don't even have established times that you can be there. You can have breakfast at 2:00 in the afternoon if you want to.
Yes.
So there's so much more freedom now with residents than you ever had before.
Yes.
Which I see. And that's been, I'm sure, driven by the culture that's created by the residents.
Yes. And the fact that the staff, they have a resident council.
Mm-hmm. I love that.
They never had a resident
council. You see their picture by the elevator.
Yes.
The residents that are the council, and how they are really determining their own, living life on their terms, I think is what Chateau's tagline is. And obviously that's so important. And the mindfulness of recognizing that everyone matters on a story like this.
Yes.
To me is fascinating.
Yes.
And it's something that is something I can imagine that these stories are relevant for the families as well of these residents.
Yes.
What kind of interaction have you had with the families?
And I have not had much.
Okay.
Except that I usually have lunch in the dining room with the residents.
Nice.
And oftentimes their families come. Nice. And so if I see that, one of the reasons for having me eat lunch with this resident is it gives me an opportunity to talk with the residents about the program. Mm-hmm. And when their families are here, then we can talk about it also.
Yeah.
And I think that is, I think the families like the fact that they're going to know something about some elderly people write their stories for the family and some do not. So it gives them the satisfaction that they probably will know something about their parents' lives.
Yeah. And when you think about just how when they come together, and when I remember the first time I walked into Chateau Pacific when I was looking for a place for my mother. I was like a deer in the headlights, Chris. I didn't know what questions to ask. I knew nothing. But I had toured a bunch of communities in the area, and they were all like giving me a different sales pitch and all these things. But when I walked through the door of Chateau Retirement, it was about lunchtime, and the residents were out in the lobby, and they were laughing. They were openly laughing and kidding around. And I just remembered how that impacted me immediately, like they were having a good time. And I could see my mom in this scenario. And it was right then and there, I knew that this is where she was going to be. So it really does come from the residents. I know that for me, it totally was. And the staff was amazing, don't get me wrong. But that was my initial impression when I went, this place is different. It is really lively. It has that kind of that feeling of, belonging.
Yes.
And inclusion.
Yes.
And I love that. And I think that's one of the things that we, in writing these stories, people can relate. They can say, you know what, I've had similar scenarios. I've had similar situations happen. And so thank you. This is like an incredible book.
There are about 150 stories in this book. Yes.
Oh my goodness sake. And you still do the stories at this point?
Oh yeah. There's the books of current residents living at Chateau they're in 8 different stations around the campus there.
Nice.
And so residents can go to the library, or they can go sit in the lobby area and pick up the books and read the stories of the people who are presently living at Chateau.
I love this. Yeah. I love this. Wow. Well, thank you so much for being on the show.
Well, thank you so much.
And it's so nice to see you again after all these years.
Thank you.
Did you know that you can discover hundreds of podcasts in our library on senior care? So visit our website and discover our decision guides that will help you also navigate decision making. Find us at answersforelders.com.